Okay, so I'm about to go on a ride, and I wanted to address some rumors that I've been seeing. So first, they popped up on TikTok, and it kind of grabbed my interest, but I wasn't sure. I thought it was like rumors and whatnot. And then I saw a video on YouTube yesterday. So I said, hey, I need to address this and see what's going on. And the rumor is the X2 Pro model. So I have the video, and I'm gonna put screenshots of what I see to kind of show you what they've changed and what they've done to the bike. Okay, so here it is. Here's the bike, and as you can see, I'll start off with kind of the frame and stuff, and then work my way to the controls and all the numbers. I'll say like what they've changed that I see, and kind of the numbers that they give. Now it says it has a steel frame. It's a carbon steel frame. I'm not sure how that's going to do on weight. Somebody can maybe weigh in on the weight of like carbon steel, what they think versus the aluminum body that it has now. It has a thicker seat. If you look at the very tip of the seat, it's definitely different than the Freego X2. It doesn't come to as much of a point. So I think they added just a little bit of padding right there, which is going to be a great deal as far as your ride. Suspension, the front suspension looks exactly the same, and the back suspension looks exactly the same. I didn't catch the model number and match them up, but it looks exactly the same. It's just the rear shock is a different color. The battery cover is solid, so the battery protector part, instead of having the holes, they took that part out and just made it solid. Now, I think the original and the Pro model, I don't like that either way, because that's going to rattle. Because you got ends, I mean, if I flick it, you can see it's going to rattle. And so the fact that that metal is so thin, I really think it should be an acrylic, but that's just my opinion. If it was an acrylic part, it wouldn't rattle like that. So I got to figure out ways to make mine quieter, but they decided to go with a full solid one, and we'll see how that does. Now, as far as the big items, we're gonna go over a few of the big items I see. That's gonna be some great upgrades. Number one is a 4-piston hydraulic brake system. So the front and the rear system are getting an upgrade. It's 4 pistons, which means a lot more brake bite, and it's gonna be a lot better brake response. So I'm looking forward to that. Single gear pedal. No more shifting. So you can see on here the pedal system, it just goes to one single gear. So it eliminates the shifter, so less clutter on your handlebars, and it just has that one gear, because most of us are just pedaling for show, or we ran the battery down and now we just got to pedal out, and the single gear should be fine. I'd love to test it out and know how that works. Also, with the single gear system and not a shifter, they've put in the axle bolt or whatever that tells you how far the axle is, and you gotta look real hard, but it's a little silver piece, and that's gonna make it to where the axle is in the same spot when you take that tire off and put it back on, or to make sure it's lined up so that your rear brake is not at an angle and it's not rubbing on the actual pads. Now, one bummer I see is the fact that it's the same kickstand, and we know when you hit a bump on this bike, the kickstand bounces and makes a rattle noise. So that's a bummer they didn't change that. Now, controls. This is some of the more exciting things, is the controls that they've changed on this bike. So we have a new display and a new way to turn it on. I'll go over the turn on process and some of the benefits of that. So to turn it on, you now take the key, you put it in, you turn it to the on position, and then there's a new control that you push, the on button, which I'll show in a minute. You hold the on button down, it turns on. So no more on switch on the actual battery. It's done with the key. So you don't need the key fob and a key. It's just one key, which makes it so much simpler. And that key also, you turn it the other way, unlocks the battery, and you can pull the battery out. So that makes it real simple. Now, the display, different display has a different control for that. I'll show the handlebars. And so you can see everything is on the left now. It starts off with the lights at the top, and then they put a signal on it. So your rear light now has a signal to go right or left, and then you have the horn. So that's all in one piece, and then you have the second piece, which controls the monitor. And so your display monitor right here, this is the biggest part. Like, I'm super excited to see that, because when you see the plus and minus button, that means now we can change the programming. So any of these screens that have a plus and minus on any e-bike, if you hold the plus and minus down for a few seconds, it'll turn into program mode, and now we can change the programming. So the problem with this bike is the fact that it is a custom wire harness. There's no way to change that controller setting. But with this new controller, there should be a way to get in there, change the programming with the plus and minus buttons. That's normally how most e-bikes work, and so I'm super excited with that. Now the screen, some people like the new screen. I saw in comments, some people don't. Now I think the new screen is going to be better because I feel like I can see those numbers better by just, you know, those big numbers showing how fast you're going. All the other numbers, I can lean in and get that, but I like to be able to glance down and see the speed. Okay, so here's the numbers that I've found that everything is the same, and that's kind of like a bummer. I think some people were expecting a little more power, maybe 8,000 watt peak or something like that, but everything's the same. Same amp hours, same voltage, so 60 volts, 30 amp hours, which I've been told this is a Samsung battery in here. It's a 35E, and it's more like 28 amp hours, which I would believe. I haven't tested that yet. That's something that I want to get into, and I'm thinking about unscrewing this battery and kind of seeing what's really in here. So that's something I'll do in another video. But it's the Pro model we're talking about. 60 volt, 30 amp hour, 3,000 watt hub motor, 6,000 watt peak. So none of that has changed. So the controller is exactly the same too. That's the same. So the systems that run it are going to be not going to be the change. It's more of a, to me, it's more of the X2.0 kind of thing. Like, or it really should be called the X3 in my head. That it just is a little bit more simpler of a bike. I'm a little bummed because I got this bike in August, and it's, you know, it's only 2 months that I've had it, and now this Pro model comes out that I had no warning about, and I don't know if I got this one or the other one, but I'd love to test the other one out and give, you know, some better numbers, how it rides, if anything's really different with the components. But that's everything I know now. So I do want to say it was confirmed by the company that the first shipment of these bikes will be out in Ontario City. I have no idea what state that is, or even if it's in this country, but he just said Ontario City on October 25th. So people will be buying these on October 25th somewhere, and he just said they'll be available. So did get that confirmation. So that's all I have. When I get more updates, I'll let everybody know, but that's as much as I know right now. And you know, just keep watching. I thank everybody for watching all my videos, and I'll see you on my next ride video.